Hi, and welcome to 50 Fabulous Knits. My name is Pia, and this is a knitting podcast. Today's episode is going to be a bit shorter than usual because I actually don't have time to podcast, but I really wanted to check in with you guys just quickly. I have a couple of finished objects that I really wanted to share. But before I do that, let me just briefly mention our Knit and Be Kind Knitalong. It is a knit-along where we focus on kindness in knitting. That can be the kindness that you show others. It can be the kindness that you show yourself. It can be the kindness that you receive. It can actually be anything you want it to be, as long as it is connected to knitting and kindness. You post your photos on Instagram using the hashtag KnitAndBeKindCal, and then you automatically enter to win some of the amazing prizes that we have. Thanks to so many generous people, there are some really nice prizes for this knit-along. Unfortunately, I can't show you everything today because postal service, but I can mention them and I can put some links in my show notes. And the show notes can be found by clicking on the link in the description box below. That will take you to my blog where you can find show notes for this and all the previous episodes. But the prizes. There is a luxury project bag from the Urban Stitcher. There is some gorgeous handmade jewelry from the Luxe Crafter. There is another project bag from the Danish maker Knitwear by Maki. You have seen her project bags over and over again on this podcast because I love them. She made this one for one of you to win in the knit-along. And of course, there's also some yarn, because you can't have a knit-along without yarn, right? So a generous viewer bought a skein of my hand-dyed yarn and donated it as a prize for the knit-along. And it is this skein in the colorway Tivoli on my sock base, which is a 80-20 merino superwash nylon blend, perfect for socks, shawls, whatever you want to use it for. And I have also put together a prize package, a kit for my new shawl design, where you get, of course, the pattern for the shawl and the yarn that you need to knit it with. And we'll look more into that later when we come to the whips. But I need to show you my teru. Oh, just look at this. I finished it. I finished my teru. I started this before Christmas, so it has been a process. It's a super fun knit, but it did take some time. But now it's done, it's finished. I am absolutely loving it. Just gonna stand up so you can see I did knit it a bit shorter than the pattern calls for. I also shortened the sleeves, and I'm really happy I did that because they're more than long enough as they are. Apart from that, I knitted exactly to pattern. I would say that if I were to knit it again, I would probably start with fewer stitches up here in the beginning in the neckline. I think it's a little big in the neckline. That can be because of my gauge. But what I did is I just crocheted just this little stripe here to just keep it up, and it's working out fine. There's no problem. So this beautiful pattern was made by Junko Okamoto, and yeah, what can I say? Go try it. If you find this sweater as amazing as I do, go ahead and knit it. It's not the easiest knit in the world, but it's definitely also not the most difficult. And I actually think that a medium knitter, just if you have some experience, this shouldn't probably be the first sweater project that you tackle, but third or fourth, you'll be fine. It is a wonderful pattern, and it's very well written, very clear instructions. Like, each round is written out. It is really just do what she tells you to do and you'll be fine. I knit it out of Drops Merino Extra Fine, and the contrast is, again, one of my own hand-dyed yarns. It is the color Storbjörn Big Bear on my DK Merino base, which is called Støvregn. The color of the Drops Merino, yeah, I started out using the light gray colorway, and yeah, this is a tell of woe because I have always been using different dye lots in the same project. No problem, I would just alternate skeins, and I have never known it to be a problem before. But of course, in this case, it was a problem. I could really tell the difference between the dye lots. And I just knew that it would bother me. As I was knitting, I kept telling myself, it's no problem. And I was knitting it indoors in the evenings, bad lighting. It didn't look so bad. But yeah, when I blocked it, I could just tell, no, this is so gonna bother me. So I dumped the whole sweater in a dye pot, just a little tiny bit of light gray color, and yeah, it came out beautifully. So I can't tell you exactly what this color is, other than it's a color that I absolutely love. So really recommend the pattern. Really recommend that you check the dye lots of your yarn before knitting. The other finished project I have is this one, my pixelated cardie. And yeah, I say finished. It's still damp from blocking. I didn't weave in the ends, but I just wanted to show you because this is, wow, I love this. I really love this. It is so beautiful. It's a heavy garment, and it's I'm gonna use it, I think, as a coat more than a cardigan. I'm gonna use it in the springtime and even in the summer, in the evening when it gets cold. It's so beautiful. The pattern is from Knit Collage, but I will have to say I kind of freestyled this one. I mixed two sizes because I wanted it smaller in the neckline, a little larger around the bust, and smaller here in the body. I also knit the sleeves somewhat longer than the pattern calls for, and because I did that, I knit the sleeves first, or obviously I knit the yoke first. It's a top-down pattern, so I knit the yoke and then I knit both sleeves so that I knew that they would be long enough, and then I did the yarn chicken game on the body of the cardigan. And yeah, I don't like yarn chicken. It's so stressful. But I told myself, you know what, if it's not going to be long enough, I'll just order an extra skein, have it waiting for me when I come to Texas. So I knit away and it's perfect. It's just what I wanted. And I even have like 25 centimeters, 10 inches of yarn left. So it is knit out of Knit Collage Spun Cloud. And the contrast up here is supposed to be Knit Collage Wildflower. I have mentioned this before. I couldn't get the colorway that I liked when I was in the US. So I just bought some fabric, cut it up, knit with that. And it's definitely beautiful. It's exactly how I wanted it to be, but it was a lot of work. So yeah. Next time I want to knit with Wildflower, I'm going to wait for the right colorway to be back in stock. The pattern up here on the yoke, I messed it up. I don't know what I did. I just messed it up. It's not really intuitive because it's supposed to be this like random patterning and yeah. That was too difficult for me. I messed it up royally, but I winged it and I think it looks really beautiful. I love my cardigan. I just really want it to dry up. I get all wet just sitting with it here. But yeah, again, the yarn, the pattern, everything is just beautiful about this. I recommend it. It's a luxury knit, but sometimes the kindness to oneself can be one luxury knit. And then maybe after that, knitting with scraps or from stash for a while. If this is something that you're able to do, I really recommend the Spun Cloud from Knit Collage. It is the most beautiful yarn that I have ever worked with. But I'm probably not gonna be able to afford to work with it again anytime soon. But I have this cardigan. I get to enjoy that a lot. Aside from working on the tarot and the pixelated cardi, the only thing I have been working on this week is my new shawl design. The Palazzo shawl, I'm calling it. I've tried to put it on some wires so that you can get a better look, because it was all scrunched up on the needles. You couldn't see it at all. So I thought I'd put it on some wires for you to see it. So it is this very classic triangular shawl with this midsection of the same lace pattern that I have in my Palazzo sweater. That's why I call it the Palazzo shawl. There's a few rows of some simple, very simple color work. And then here, that is going to be hard to see. Here is 2 rows of another very, very, very simple lace pattern. And then the shawl is just going to continue in the Snow White colorway, the speckled one here. Continue in that until the end. So yeah, I am absolutely loving how this is turning out. Yeah, I'm knitting, ripping back, knitting and ripping back because I want it to be perfect. I want the proportions of the stripes, the sections in the shawl to be perfect. So there has been a lot of ripping back, but that's okay. I get to enjoy my yarn twice that way. It's okay. This is the shawl that you can also win in the Knitalong. I will make a kit with the yarn that you need for it, the same colorways as I'm using here and the pattern. And the colorways that I am using is, as I said, Snow White or Snehvide, the speckled one. Then it's the undyed yarn, the white one, and the gray one in these little stripes is the one that is called Fiftyfabulous, West of the Moon. It is all made in my sock base, 80/20 merino nylon blend. So it is very light and airy. I'm knitting it on size 3.75 millimeters, which is probably something like a 4 or a 5 or something US. I'm so sorry. I need to learn this. I really need to learn this, but something like that. It's a relatively large needle for a sock yarn to get this airy and light shawl. So yes, I can't wait to finish this, but I really like knitting on it. It's a very creative knit for me. Usually I plan out everything when I design before I start knitting, but with this one I just cast on and yeah, went for it, and I'm really loving the process. And that, my friends, was it for the knitting content this week. I did say it was going to be a short episode, both because I only worked on 3 projects, but also because, yeah, I'm in a hurry. I should probably go pack my suitcase. I'm leaving for Texas tomorrow. If you haven't watched the earlier episodes, I am going on a 7-week trip to visit my family in Texas. My oldest son lives there with his amazing wife, Maria. I know you're watching, sweetie. I can't wait to see you. And my adorable grandson, little John. In order for me to enter the US coming from a Schengen area, I need to quarantine outside of Schengen for 2 weeks. So we're going to go to Dubai for 2 weeks and wait it out there. And then we will come to Texas. Yay. But yeah, I should start packing. I mean, I have packed all my knitting projects. I packed matching sweaters for Peter and John. I packed yarn for a new summer top that I'm designing. And then I also packed yarn for a remake of one of my old designs. Princess, like it's the one that's hanging up there, chicken knit. I'm translating that, and after I'm done translating, I'm gonna knit from the English translation and send it out to some test knitters, and then I will be releasing the pattern in English. I'm just gonna put a photo because you can't really see it as it's hanging on the wall. Yeah, I'm really excited about that pattern. I can't wait to get started on yet another version of the chicken knit. Yeah, so I packed all my knitting. I also made sure that I have 2 sweater quantities of yarn waiting for me when I get to Texas. So I'm good. It's sorted. I'm not gonna run out of yarn. But I think maybe I'm gonna need other stuff like a dress or a toothbrush or whatnot. So I really should go and get started unpacking that suitcase. I am going to be podcasting from Dubai next time. I really hope that you'll be back, and it will be a longer episode with just a little more calmness and probably also a lot more projects. But yeah, as I said, I just wanted to check in. I hope that you will have a wonderful week. I hope that you enjoy your knitting, and I hope that I will see you again next week. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.